bodies weren't falling for him at some points in that fight. But I believe we won that fight. Clearly, we should be two-time world champion right now.
Gervonta Tank Davis is back to trolling, and this time Lamont Roach Jr. is the target after their fight ended in a controversial draw. Tank wasted no time in letting Roach know exactly how he felt. And not just that, the comments coming from Tank's rivals about his pretty boy excuse in the ring set up the perfect near future fights for Tank. However, it seems that Tank's only focus is money, and it was revealed when he mentioned the fighter he was going to call out if he had one against Roach.
Who were you gonna call out? What was the plan originally?
I think he was here.
I ain't gonna do him.
He came in my locker room.
Shakur Stevenson?
He wasn't in my locker room.
Jake Paul?
Next question.
Let's catch you up. In a heated live session, Davis mocked Roach, claiming he was still the better man and that Roach should be thankful he didn't get knocked out. But Roach wasn't having it. He made it clear that Davis did everything in his power to win and still couldn't get the job done. Now, as the dust settles, it looks like Tank might not be done with Roach just yet.
Nobody like a draw, you know, from a guy that get knockouts and things like that, but it's cool. I feel like if we fight again, I could do more, and I should have did more. I was lost in I lost track in the
The fight itself was a good one. Roach came in sharp, outworking Tank in multiple rounds and even had a moment in the ninth that sent shockwaves through the boxing world. Tank took a knee. Most fans and analysts called it a clear knockdown, but the referee didn't see it that way. That single moment changed everything. Had it been ruled correctly, Roach would have walked away with the biggest win of his career. Instead, the fight was ruled a majority draw, and Tank held on to his WBA lightweight title. Despite the controversy, Tank has been in full troll mode ever since he hopped on social media the moment he got the chance, reminding Roach that he was still the champion and that a draw wasn't enough for him to claim victory. "You should be thanking me for not ending your career," Davis said in one post. In another, he flat out dismissed Roach's performance, saying, "You had the fight of your life and still couldn't beat me." But Roach isn't the type to just sit back and take it. He fired right back, telling Tank that he knew the truth. Davis gave it everything he had and still couldn't put him away.
They was both even. If you watch the fight, they was both watching each other. Sometimes they stood right in front of each other and was just trying to figure out where the holes was at. It was a very skillful fight.
And which is one of the things that when you fight somebody that you know that
You know what happened in that ring, Roach said during an Instagram live session. "You felt it. You did your best. You couldn't beat me. Told you I was no Frank Martin." It was a direct challenge, one that Tank clearly didn't appreciate. Davis then went on to talk about his excuse to take a knee in the fight. It didn't take long for Davis to respond, and this time he went even further. "Man, y'all keep talking about that knee," he said. "I took a knee 'cause I wanted to, not 'cause he did anything special. I was just chilling, thinking about what I was going to eat after the fight. But everyone knows the truth." The moment was a rare sign of vulnerability from Davis, and Roach is using it to keep the pressure on.
And I thought I was doing my thing, so I'm not really that frustrated about that. But if that was kind of a knockdown, I will win the majority decision.
All of this back and forth is now forcing Tank to reconsider his future. Before the Roach fight, Davis had been vocal about his plans to retire soon. He originally said he had 3 more fights left after Roach and that he'd be done with boxing by the end of 2025. But that draw changed everything. Now Davis is saying he's not going anywhere just yet. "Yeah, it definitely changed my plans. It definitely changed my plans," Tank admitted in the post-fight press conference. "I probably got for more fights now."
Or your future?
Yeah, it definitely changed my plans. It definitely changed my plans. I probably got like 4 more fights now, for sure.
It's a complete shift from where he was just months ago. At the end of 2024, Tank said he had grown tired of boxing. He was ready to walk away, and his plan was set, but now he's got something to prove. The draw against Roach has clearly been eating at him, even though he won't admit it outright. His nonstop trolling is proof enough. But while he's at that Keyshawn, Davis is on a mission to expose him, and he's not holding anything back ever since Tank's controversial draw with Roach. Keyshawn has been all over social media making it clear that he never believed Tank was the fighter he claimed to be. To Keyshawn, Tank's entire aura has been built on hype, not true skill, and after seeing him struggle against Roach, he's doubling down on that belief. Keyshawn is convinced that Tank isn't what people think he is, and he's making it clear that if they ever fight, he would put Tank down without a doubt. That fight playing out.
What's the biggest advantage that Keyshawn has going against
Tank?
Yeah,
It's a great boxer. Keyshawn's a great boxer, and he got power behind him. So I can see that fight just being an entertaining fight. Keyshawn's an entertainer, like you said. Tank comes in there trying to knock you out. I can see that fight just being entertained and, doing later rounds. Keyshawn will stop it. Yeah.
Keyshawn first spoke out on Instagram Live, and he wasted no time tearing into Tank's performance. I feel like Lamont won. Let's start there. He said, making sure everyone knew exactly where he stood. I feel like Lamont definitely won. A draw. It is what it is. I ain't hating on the decision, but I did feel like Lamont Roach pulled it off. But he wasn't just stating his opinion. He was backing it up with facts. Had the 9th round knee been ruled correctly as a knockdown, Roach would have won on 2 of the 3 scorecards, making him the new WBA lightweight champion. Instead, Tank kept his belt, and the controversy only added to the conversation about whether or not he's really the best at 135. If they ran it back, y'all already know what would happen. Keyshawn added, making it clear that he believes Roach would win a rematch without question.
The nigga trash. Not. I'm talking about the opponent. Trash. I just don't like how.
But this wasn't just about Roach. This was about Keyshawn putting himself in the conversation. He doesn't just believe Roach beat Tank. He believes he himself would do far worse to Tank. I'm the best at 135, man. He said confidently. Either one of them guys, I'm knocking them out. He wasn't hesitant. He wasn't unsure. He was speaking like a man who already knows what's going to happen. I'm telling you, if you give me either or before the rematch, I'm King that rematch. They are getting put down. I ain't playing. I'll put all these guys down. The message was clear. Tank and Roach can run it back all they want, but it doesn't matter, because if Keyshawn gets to either of them first, he'll be the one taking over the division.
But I don't want to fight one of them. You know what I'm saying? I don't care who I fight at this point. I don't care. But I'm telling you, if you give me either or before they rematch, I'm fucking their rematch up. They getting put. I'm telling you, I ain't even playing. I ain't playing, bro. I'm young. I'm on fire. I'm young and I'm on fire.
And then came the moment where Keyshawn really let Tank have it. Don't say Tank will knock me out no more. I'm shutting the Shaster's tea down right now. Don't fix your mouth to even say this man could knock me out. Crazy. It wasn't just trash talk. It was a full-on dismissal of everything Tank has built his name on. The power, the knockouts, the fear factor. Keyshawn doesn't see any of it as real. In his mind, Tank has never fought anyone like him, and he's letting it be known that the moment they step in the ring, it'll be a different kind of fight than anything Tank has ever experienced before.
I thought I should have won a competitive fight. I think I did what I needed to do necessary to bank the rounds, and even without the knee, that should have been a knockdown. So I don't think there's any excuse for me not to win tonight, but that's just how the cookie crumbled.
Keyshawn isn't just talking for the sake of it. There's a real possibility that he could be next in line to face Tank. While Tank has said he's open to a rematch with Roach, he's also made it clear that it won't be next. That has fans speculating. If it's not Roach, then who? Devin Haney and Shocker Stevenson are names that have been floating around, but so is Keyshawn Davis, given how personal he's making it. The build-up to that fight would be unlike anything we've seen from Tank in a long time. Keyshawn isn't just calling out Tank's last fight, he's calling out his entire career. He's making the argument that Tank has never been what people say he is. He's saying that Tank has been carefully matched up against opponents who make him look good, rather than true threats.
Killer quality. If I'm Tank Davis and I'm coming off a disappointment in terms of my offensive output, I'm not going straight to the best defender in the division. I'm looking for some other fight, and I think the logical fight for him is a rematch with LaMontrOACH.
And now that he's finally been in a real fight, Tank barely survived. To Keyshawn, the myth of Tank is crumbling, and he wants to be the one to put the final nail in the coffin. But the backlash isn't coming from Keyshawn alone. Tim Bradley had been one of Tank's toughest critics for years, constantly questioning his level of opposition and the way his career was managed. But even he had to admit that Tank had something special, especially with how Tank responded to the Saudis. Over time, Bradley had started to appreciate those qualities, even if he didn't always agree with how Tank carried himself. But after what he saw against LaMontrOACH Jr., all of that respect was gone.
I think when he found out that this guy is in front of me, he's taking it, I think it was too late. I thought it was disappointing that he didn't draw.
It wasn't just that Tank underperformed. It was the way he carried himself, the entitlement, the belief that he could do whatever he wanted in the ring and get away with it. Bradley had seen a lot in boxing, but Tank's antics in that fight left him shaking his head. He had expected a dominant performance from Davis, a statement win that would silence critics and prove he was still the man to beat at 135. Instead, Tank looked vulnerable, and worse, he acted like he was above the sport.
And you see who it is. Hey, who is the dude? Who is the dude?
Bradley was disgusted by what he saw and didn't hold back in his analysis. He felt Tank had been given an unfair advantage, that the fight was being controlled to protect him, rather than let the action play out naturally. The 9th round incident was the perfect example. Bradley had never seen a fighter take a knee like that, pause the action on his own terms, and have it completely ignored by the referee. That was the moment Bradley realized that Tank wasn't just the aside. He was being treated like boxing royalty, with rules bent in his favor. And for someone like Bradley, who prided himself on fighting the hard way, that was unacceptable. They made the rules up.
The rules up. Yeah, that was bullshit. It should have been called a knockdown. You can't take a break like that. The only person that can do that is the referee. The referee can stop the action and say, hey, let me take you to the corner.
He also took issue with Tank's attitude during the fight. There was no sense of urgency, no real effort to take control in the later rounds when the fight was slipping away. It was almost as if Tank believed his status alone would be enough to secure the win, as if the judges wouldn't dare score it against him. Bradley had seen fighters lose hunger before, but this was different. Tank wasn't just coasting. He was acting like he didn't need to do more than the bare minimum. And that, to Bradley, was a major problem.
Oh, stop closing up. Gotta let it go. Keep turning, step around.
Bradley was particularly frustrated because he had actually started to come around on Tank. He had given him credit after his knockout win over Ryan Garcia, acknowledging that Tank had shown patience, timing, and a high ring IQ. He had even defended Tank against some critics who claimed he was overrated, arguing that his power made him one of the most dangerous fighters in the sport. Bradley couldn't shake his disappointment. It wasn't just about one fight, it was about what it revealed for Tank's future. If Davis was already showing signs of complacency, thinking he didn't have to prove himself anymore, what would happen in his future matchups? How would he fare against someone like Keyshawn Davis, a young, hungry fighter eager to take him down? What about a showdown with Devin Haney or Shaka Stevenson to boxers? Who wouldn't let him coast through rounds? Bradley wasn't thrilled with what he saw and didn't hesitate to voice his concerns.
See each other. He say he want to fight me, so we gonna fight.
But what do you think about the decision?
I told him I won.
You told him I won. Got you. I'll talk to you later, Chico. Good luck.
For Bradley, boxing is all about discipline, heart, and the willingness to push yourself when things get tough. He had fought in wars, gone to the limit, and never expected special treatment. That's why Tank's attitude disgusted him. It didn't matter how much talent Tank had. If he wasn't willing to fight like a true champion, then he wasn't one. Despite the backlash, it seems Tank has reached a point where he no longer cares what fans think. He's not focused on proving he's the best in his division anymore. Right now, Tank isn't concerned about legacy, it's all about the money. And if that's the case, Jake Paul presents the biggest payday. The signs are all there. Jake was spotted in the locker room before the fight, and the cameras made sure to show him during the broadcast. When Tank was asked about his next opponent, he danced around the question, hinting he already knew who it was. He even refused to mention Jake's name when the media pressed him, suggesting that negotiations are already in the works. A fight with Jake Paul wouldn't be about competition, it would be about business. Jake knows how to market a fight, and Tank is at a point where paydays are more important than challenges. He already hinted that a rematch with LaMontrOACH wasn't going to happen, despite the controversy surrounding their fight. The WBA should order an immediate rematch, but Tank doesn't seem interested. If they push the issue, he might just vacate the title and move on. It's clear that belts don't matter to him as much anymore. If he's going to move on, why not go all in for the biggest spectacle fight he can get? Size-wise, a fight with Jake Paul makes no sense. Jake walks around at 200 pounds and has even weighed in as high as 227 pounds. For his fight with Mike Tyson, Tank, on the other hand, is a natural 135-pounder, maybe 140 at most. Even if Jake managed to cut down to 185, there would still be a 45-pound difference between them. But this isn't about fairness, it's about selling a fight. Jake has called out smaller fighters before, including Nate Diaz and Conor McGregor. A fight with Tank would just be another chapter in Jake's circuits of matchups.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be down. Let's run it. Like, I'll be super down. I don't know if
Gervonta needs Jake Paul. Let's be clear, right?
Is there a height limit in boxing?
Jake knows exactly how to rile people up and make a fight must-see. He's already hinted that he'd destroy Tank due to the size difference, while still giving him respect as a fighter. Those types of comments keep the conversation going, and Tank seems to be on board. If Tank were truly interested in fighting Devin Haney or Shocker Stevenson, he would have mentioned them by name when asked. Instead, he dodged the question, letting the speculation grow. That's exactly how a Jake Paul fight would be promoted.
No, I'm not.
He the champ though too, undefeated.
And what champ? Come on, man, tell me what belt. You know boxing. You forgot Devin Haney is undisputed. Devin Haney got all the belts. He the champ. Nobody else the champ. I'm gonna come up here where the big boys at.
For years, Tank's fanbase defended him when critics questioned his level of competition. They argued that he was the most dangerous puncher in boxing and didn't need to fight the biggest names to prove himself. But now, even his most loyal supporters are finding it hard to defend him. His performance against Roach was underwhelming, and his attitude after the fight made it clear that he's not taking these matchups seriously. If he chooses to fight Jake Paul next, it would be undeniable proof that Tank no longer cares about proving he's the best. He's focused solely on the biggest payday.
Go ahead, Des, get in the ring, Des.